Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please subscribe and keep watching for more detailed videos. When we talk about the legacy of General Hospital, there are a few characters who embody the heart, the resilience, and the unshakable presence of the series the way Monica Quartermaine does. She's been through decades of upheaval, heartbreak, victories, and reinventions. To look back at Monica's journey is to trace the pulse of the soap itself, because her personal battles and triumphs often mirrored the dramatic tone of the show. What makes Monica unforgettable is not only her longevity, but the depth of the stories she's carried. And when you revisit her most iconic storylines, you realize just how much her character shaped the landscape of Port Charles and how much she still means to viewers today. Her storylines were never simple. Monica was a character who was allowed to be complicated, capable of immense love and loyalty, yet equally capable of mistakes that carried heavy consequences. This balance is what made her captivating. Through these defining arcs, she became not just a fixture in the Quartermaine family, but also one of the strongest, most layered characters in the soap opera world. So let's dive into the moments that etched Monica's name into daytime history. The arcs that challenged her, defined her, and ultimately solidified her as an icon. One of the most unforgettable threads in Monica's journey came from her tangled, fiery romantic entanglements, particularly her epic triangle with Alan Quartermaine and Rick Webber. This was a storyline that spanned years and showcased Monica at her most passionate and conflicted. The tension between her heart's pull toward Rick and her marriage to Alan created a storm that dominated the late 70s and early 80s. Monica's struggle wasn't just about choosing between two men, it was about choosing between stability and passion, between the comfort of security and the spark of forbidden love. And in true soap fashion, her choices often spiraled into chaos. What made it so powerful was how unapologetically real it felt. Monica was not written as a saint. She made selfish decisions. She lashed out. She schemed to get what she wanted. But in doing so, she felt human. The rivalry between Alan and Rick, with Monica caught in the middle, gave us some of the most dramatic confrontations, some of the most heartfelt apologies, and some of the most explosive Quartermaine family moments we've ever seen. It's a storyline fans still reference when they talk about the golden era of General Hospital, because it was just that compelling. And yet, as fiery as her romantic drama was, Monica's identity as a doctor brought her some of her most inspiring and gut-wrenching material. Her medical career wasn't just a backdrop, it was integral to her character. And that came to a head in the storyline where Monica herself was diagnosed with breast cancer. For a character who had built her life around healing others, suddenly being faced with her own mortality was devastating. This wasn't just a plot twist for shock value. It was a carefully crafted exploration of vulnerability, fear, and survival. Watching Monica battle cancer gave viewers one of the most authentic, heartfelt portrayals of illness in daytime television. The story was handled with depth and respect, and Leslie Charleson delivered raw, emotional performances that made Monica's pain feel intensely personal. It wasn't just about her struggle with the disease, but also about how it affected her family, her sense of identity, and her future. It reminded audiences that beneath the glamour and the wealth, Monica was still human. That storyline touched countless fans, many of whom saw their own experiences reflected in her journey. And when Monica overcame it, it didn't just make her stronger, it cemented her as a character of resilience and hope, someone who could inspire in the midst of darkness. But Monica's legacy is not only about her personal survival. Another defining thread in her character arc was her complicated but enduring role as the matriarch of the Quartermaine family, and nothing tested that role more than her turbulent relationship with her children. Between adoptive ties, biological connections, and all the betrayals and reconciliations in between, Monica's journey as a mother was a tapestry of heartbreak and unconditional love. Perhaps the most gut-wrenching chapter of this saga came with the loss of her beloved daughter, Emily. That storyline cut deep not just for Monica, but for fans who had grown to adore Emily as well. Watching Monica grapple with grief, devastation, and the desperate attempt to hold her family together after such a loss was heartbreaking. It showcased Leslie Charleson's ability to play devastation with such authenticity that it lingered with viewers long after the episodes aired. Emily's death was more than just another tragedy. It reshaped Monica's perspective on life, family, and love. It reminded us how deeply she cared, how much she could endure, and how even in her darkest hours, Monica remained the emotional anchor of the Quartermaine clan. The Quartermaine family dynamics themselves provided Monica with endless material, and much of it revolved around her never-ending battles with control, loyalty, and identity within that wealthy, dysfunctional empire. Being married to Alan and constantly sparring with Edward made Monica both an insider and an outsider in the family's power struggles. She was fiercely protective of her place at the table, yet constantly tested by schemes, betrayals, and scandals. These battles weren't always external, they were also deeply internal, as Monica often found herself questioning her worth, her belonging, and her role in the family legacy. Scenes where Monica stood up to Edward or clashed with Tracy showed us just how strong and fiery she could be. She wasn't content to be a silent wife or passive matriarch. Monica fought, tooth and nail, to carve her space in the Quartermaine hierarchy. That fight was iconic because it showed her strength not just as a doctor or a wife or a mother, but as a woman who refused to be sidelined. And while these struggles sometimes brought out her flaws, they also highlighted her perseverance. The Quartermaine family drama was always heightened, but Monica was its emotional core. Her battles and her triumphs gave the chaos, these arcs, the romances, the illnesses, the family feuds. Perhaps one of the most enduring aspects of Monica's story was her evolution from a fiery, sometimes reckless woman into a wise, resilient cornerstone of the community. That evolution didn't happen overnight. It was built over decades of loss, betrayal, forgiveness, and survival. Monica grew before our eyes. She was once the young woman tangled in affairs, desperate for love and validation, and she became the woman others turned to for guidance, for compassion, and for strength. Her later years, where she embraced her role as the Quartermaine matriarch with grace and authority, carried just as much weight as her earlier scandals. And that is the true hallmark of an iconic character: longevity. Yes, but also growth. Monica was never static. She evolved, she stumbled, she picked herself back up, and she carried on. And because of that, she remained compelling through every era of General Hospital. When you look at these storylines, the fiery love triangle with Rick and Alan, the devastating yet inspiring battle with cancer, the heartbreaking loss of Emily, the Quartermaine power struggles, and her evolution into a matriarch, you see the portrait of a character who was never afraid to be messy, never afraid to be vulnerable, and never afraid to fight for her place. Monica Quartermaine wasn't perfect, and that's exactly what made her perfect for daytime television. She gave us someone real, someone layered, someone unforgettable. General Hospital has always thrived on characters who could carry entire eras of storytelling on their shoulders, and Monica did just that. Her storylines weren't just memorable, they were foundational. They defined the emotional highs and lows of the series and gave viewers a reason to keep tuning in year after year. Monica was passion, she was heartbreak, she was resilient, and she was family. And even today, her presence is felt in Port Charles as a reminder of everything the Quartermaine name stands for and everything General Hospital has meant to generations of fans. Looking back, it's hard not to marvel at the scope of Monica's journey. From fiery romance to devastating tragedy, from fierce battles to tender reconciliations, from personal vulnerability to undeniable strength, she embodied the essence of soap opera storytelling. She wasn't just a character we watched. She was a character we lived with, a character we grew with, a character we cried and celebrated with. That's why Monica Quartermaine remains iconic. Because her stories weren't just stories. They were experiences. They were lessons. They were unforgettable moments that still resonate decades later, in the hearts of fans who know that General Hospital simply wouldn't be the same without her. Come back to our channel for all your updates. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel.